Hi, this is NTV214. Thanks for stopping by the channel. Thanks, subscribers doing all that. Sorry, I got a few subscribers more the last few days, week, and so on. So I just finished reading The Hobbit tonight. It's the same author, J.R. Tolkien, who wrote Lord of the Rings. I actually read Lord of the Rings before reading The Hobbit, but I've seen all the movies, even the cartoon ones from like the 70s. Before my time. So I actually had read Lord of the Rings, and after reading Lord of the Rings, I got the Toy Biz figures from it. I have other figures, but I have these specifically here because it relates to The Hobbit. So like characters that are in Lord of the Rings then that are also in The Hobbit are Elrond, the elf, there's Gandalf in it, the wizard, there's Gollum in it, and it's not exactly, but they're dwarves in it. That's Gimli. I don't have any dwarves from like that one, but they look like similar. There's Thorin in the movie and book, and there's also Bilbo Baggins. I don't have him in figure form, but I have his nephew, who's Frodo Baggins there. So the book is definitely different than the movie. It's 3 movies, but it could have been probably like 1, maybe 2. They added a lot into the movies that wasn't in the book. So some of the differences in it is like more of like love triangles and different things. And I don't even remember Legolas being in the book. And I just finished reading it, and like he has a role in the movie. He's maybe mentioned very shortly, but I know that there's elves from like Elrond in his area, as well as like elves of the forest, but I don't remember Legolas' name being in the book at all. The story is sort of different as well. In the movie, it starts off with like, he's sort of remembering it's coming on his 111th birthday. He's with Frodo and different things, and there's other like scenes into like build up the story more. But in the book, it's more about like Bilbo Baggins, and that Gandalf comes to him, and he doesn't really remember him at first, except others than his fireworks displays that he's done. And then they talk, and on the way out, that Gandalf has like put a symbol on his door, which is like some sort of rune for the dwarves to know where to go to. And then like they go one by one to his house, his hobbit hole, and then like unexpected guest, and they want to eat and all this and that. So he's getting flabbergasted about this, which is like the movie as well. It actually has the same song being sung by the dwarves, like in the book, that they have it like the text of it. It's in the book and the movie, which is good. I think it's described a little bit differently about when they come in, and with like Thorin, who's the leader of the dwarves. It's described a little bit differently, but they all like have a lot of food, and the dwarves are sort of a rowdy bunch there. And then like the story is different how he leaves. Like they go to give him like a contract about getting a share of what's the treasure, with going to the mount, like under the mountain, and what happens with that. And basically in the book, it's like Bilbo sleeps in and almost misses it, and then like his on his mother's side, from the Tooks, that they're more adventurous, and like the Baggins are less. So like he has like times of like feeling more adventurous and not, that he wants to and doesn't. But then he ends up going when Gandalf goes to him and said like, oh, like they left you this letter to meet them at like a bar inn, and he doesn't really go then. And then like he races off to go there, but in the movie he's basically like meeting them on the road. So that's like one little difference of it. And throughout the journey in the book, he's saying how like he wishes he could be home and comfort in his hobbit hole, and he's not really like that brave. But along the journey he has some like good ideas. That they travel, it's a long hard journey. One funny thing is like he said, "Oh, I forgot my handkerchief. I forgot this or that. I want," and there's no time to go back. So they keep pressing on. They go through the forest. They have a run-in with spiders, which actually no. First, it's like the book and the movie is similar, that they have the run-in with the giant trolls, and well, I don't remember the order at the moment, but they have a run-in with the trolls, and Bilbo, and is there. The dwarves are captured. He's captured. Gandalf saves them, and they go and take the dwarves' treasures and bury it. If they come back that way, that they can go and get it. Of different things, supplies and golden treasures from elves and others. So they continue on their journey. That they're go to see Elrond as well, and then given advice about with the journey, like what to do and different things, and get some rest. Then they continue on. There's the elves of the forest who sort of hide from them. They have some some sort of candlelight or torches, what have you, and they can make it completely dark. And after that, that's when the spiders attack them, and they're all mostly wrapped up in spider webs. But Bilbo gets some courage. He remembers he has the sword, which is more like a dagger from elves, so that glows when the goblins or orcs are near. So he uses that to cut his way out, and then he goes and fights and defeats one of the spiders, and that helps him be brave. It uplifts his confidence, and he helps rescue Thorin, the leader of the dwarves, and that they all go and rescue the rest of the dwarves to continue on the journey. They go under the mountain, and that they have a run-in. They have run-ins with some of the goblins, that they're captured by them, and they defeat the Goblin King there, the ruler of the goblins, and that's is similar in both of them. Then they continue on, but they don't know where Bilbo is, but Bilbo had his run-in with Gollum, and he gets the ring. They have their riddle, telling each other riddles, and if whoever wins gets what they want. But Gollum doesn't want to help him to find the way out, but he sort of follows Gollum, and figures his way to get out. And then he goes to meet with the dwarves again, and for a while Gandalf separates from them to go about doing other things, which he was having which finds out later on he's having a council with Saruman and other wizards about the necromancer. But it's more so in the movies that's shown more of. It's expanded upon in the movies with things. That's why they made into 3 movies and not just 1 or 2. They continue on the journey, and they're captured by the elves of the forest, and the dwarves won't speak. Bilbo, he wasn't captured because he has the magic ring to go invisible, but he he follows in, he keeps an eye out. So he's in the kingdom of the elves, and he figures out how to take some of the food and drink to so he doesn't starve. They're all sort of suffering with it being an arduous journey and not having a lot of food and drink. Supplies go low, but he figures out how to go and rescue them. And this is another difference from the movie and the book, that in the book, them they're all in the barrels and tossed in the water to go to Lake Town. But the difference is that the elves see them and are chasing after them more in the movie, as well as the goblins are chasing them as well, which isn't really in the book. It's sort of boring journey that Bilbo was the last, and he's able to when they go to an area, the elves say, oh, these barrels seem extra heavy, but it was nighttime, so it's oh, there's no time to check in. And then the dwarves were in there. That's why they're extra heavy. But they're like strapped together and then sent more on the way down the river. So they're able to escape, and like Bilbo was able to like get out of his and go about his things because he has the magic ring. And then when they get out, the dwarves are all sore and from being like, in a barrel for maybe a few days, nothing to eat. One of them was in the barrel with apples, and he's like, oh, like I never want to eat an apple again. If that's the only food available, I won't eat. So then they press on with the journey, and they go ask for help from the people at Lake Town. The leader of there is sort of wary of them and think that they're just like, thieves, and that they just want to go and like take the treasure from under the mountain, and that he isn't really a descendant of like the former king of the dwarves, but he actually is Thorin. So the people are happy, and like the leader of the Lake Town isn't really happy about them, but he has to like do the will of the people basically. So they press on still. They're helped, they're given some like directions of which way to go, traveling through the forest, what have you, the mountain, and given some ponies and supplies to continue on their journey. So then they get to the mountain, and this is where things like Bilbo is sent in first. He has his magic ring to go in, and Smaug the dragon is sleeping there and could like Bilbo takes the Arkenstone, which has a more prominent role in the movies than the book about it. So it's like a special gemstone that one of his ancestors has, and like that's what Thorin, the leader of the dwarves, wants the most. And like so Bilbo takes it, hides it, and then like he goes, and the dragon Smaug senses him and like doesn't see him, but they have a talk, and Bilbo's talking in what do you call that word, in riddles about like he says he's barrel rider and different things. And then he later on he's like, oh, I shouldn't have said that, because then Smaug could figure out about different things and use it against them and attack, which Smaug then goes out and does, attacks Lake Town, and there's a lot of like trouble with that, as well as other things. And actually someone goes and gets Smaug because there was a little like he's missing some scales of armor by his stomach area and able to like hit his last arrow. So it's dramatic even in the book about that. And they can, so like Smaug is dead, that the people are happy, but they're sort of like the gold and treasures under the mountain are available now, and the dwarves want it, the people of Lake Town want it, the elves want it. So like they'd all would sort of go fight against each other to get it, and they didn't know, but the goblins are actually after them. And it's sort of dramatic even in the book that there's a ton of bats flying overhead, so the goblins are stay like in the dark, in shadow, to continue on their journey. And there's so much more of them than the dwarves and the people and the elves, so they're sort of like worried, are we gonna like even survive this? And messengers are sent for I think Dane, which is a relative of Thorin, the leader of the dwarves. So like his people come to help as well. And not Frodo, Bilbo, he goes and he wants to try and like have this be peaceful and not to have a big fight go on. So he takes the Arkenstone to give it to the elves as like use it as a bargaining tool, so you don't have to fight and can like get some treasure while having more peaceful relations. And this gets Thorin so angry, and that like he curses at Bilbo when they go to have like a meeting, the dwarves and the elves. And then like things don't go that well, but then they all have to join forces because they find out the goblins are coming, and there's the battle, which is a lot of die from all the sides, elves, dwarves, men, and goblins as well. then what happens after that is they're saved by the eagles, that the giant eagles fly in to help them to get rid of the goblins. So like, you know, everyone's safe, the goblins are defeated, there's hardly any goblins left, and that they're like cast, like, you know, the ones that are left like run scared. And the book is different than the movie because there's one like leader of the goblins that's in the movies, the white one, and he has like a missing an arm and has like a fake like a hook arm thing. That's not in the book that much. It just says like he's dead, but in the movies it's like he's was thought to be dead, but he's still alive. So that's a major difference, how they can like build upon it and give more story, more meat into the to make into 3 movies and not just 1 or 2. But then, like, you know, the journey ends, that they finish, and sadly that Thorin is dying. He doesn't make it, and 2 of his cousins pass away as well, who are like young. It's like the sons of his brother's sister, of his father's sister. So it's like his cousins that they die and he dies of the dwarves, like, you know, in the personal story of the group that go, which is sad. Bilbo's crying, teary-eyed, and can't even speak. But after that, the dwarves are like, you know, thank him for his service. And Thorin actually, before he died, he apologized to Bilbo for being, like, you know, mean about things. And, like, you know, they make amends, basically. And that Bilbo doesn't really like care so much for the treasure at the end, but he gets, like, you know, some silver and gold. And that they go on their journey back. There was another part in it, that they're helped by someone who's like he's a man, but he can change into a bear, and like he actually helps in the battle as well to win it. And he gets even like huger in his anger. He gets to even greater size in bear form, and like he's helping on the journey back. They're going with the elves and Gandalf. So then they part ways when they get to the forest, because those are the forest elves. And then they, like, you know, Bilbo and Born, who can change, and Bilbo and Gandalf, they continue on their journey. And they stay for a while with Born and Bilbo, like, you know, thinks beautiful flowers and able to like eat good food and, like, you know, rest up. And then they continue on. They go back to Elrond and can spend some time there, a few days. And that, like, you know, on their journeys, Bilbo and Gandalf spoke a lot. So then Gandalf like tells the story of everything what was happening, and it's a place of like happiness and peace and song at the realm of the elves, which is good. And after a few days, then they continue on their journey, and Bilbo goes back, sort of like in the movie, that, like, you know, they presume he's dead. It's been about a year since he's been gone, and they're selling all of his stuff at auction, and that like his family wanted to take his house and all his hobbit hole, but he has to buy some of his stuff back. And then, like, you know, he's sort of not respected anymore for going on his adventure by the other hobbits, but he's like becomes a friend of the elves and the dwarves. And different, like, you know, his life definitely changed. So it's, and then in it, like, you know, one of the dwarves goes to visit him with Gandalf, and it sort of like ends with that. So it was a very good book. There are like some things that weren't as dramatic in the book than the movies, which you would like think. And they really stretched out the movies too. But I definitely would suggest, if you didn't read the book, to check it out. I don't have it, but there's like the 70s cartoon version. I've seen it before. I'd suggest to watch that if you could find it, and also the 3 movies, and see how you like it and differences, similarities. But it's definitely cool to see that. I have many other books to read after this. I'm like, I make it a habit to read. I would have finished this a few days early, but I was away over the weekend. So The Hobbit's definitely a good read, and see the movies, check out the differences. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, comment, like, share. See you in the next video.